Welcome, wrestling fans. Welcome to Curtain Jerkin. As always, I am your host, Jacob Grondy, reporting for the Main Event Marks YouTube channel and the Dragon Suplex Podcasting Network. This is a big week in pro wrestling. We're going to be talking about the week that was in AEW content on television, at least AEW Dynamite, AEW Rampage. We're going to be talking about the WWE Royal Rumble. We're going to be talking about WWE Raw. We're going to be talking about tons of shit going on. We're also going to be talking about who will win, the cocky, arrogant, young upstart, or the veteran who recently found success in a new home, reinvigorating his career. MJF and CM Punk? No. I'm talking about the Super Bowl, guys. The Bengals versus the LA Rams. Who will lift the trophy in LA? Daniel Garcia, Battle of Los Angeles style. Will it be the Rams? Will it be the Bengals? I'm going with Bengals here. There's something about Joe Burrow. There's something about, he's already won a championship in LSU. It's his second year, picked first overall. He's just got something going for him. And, come on, we want Cincinnati to win. I've already seen the Rams win once in my lifetime. And they made it to the Super Bowl like twice since they won one, where the Bengals haven't won in my lifetime. I was born in 1989, and they haven't even, won a playoff game since 1988. So that's who I'm cheering for. I'm cheering for the underdog. Also, this week, the last football topic, I promise, we're going to be getting into wrestling. But Tom Brady apparently retired. Everyone is saying Tom Brady retired, but Tom Brady, so it is still a rumor. But as soon as the news got out that he was retiring, I saw all this stuff on Facebook, all this stuff on Twitter, all this stuff on Instagram that I've never seen before regarding Tom Brady. And that was some love. Everyone was showing Tom Brady love, saying like, you know what, I booed you, but you're the GOAT. I booed you, but you're the GOAT. Which kind of resembles how people were treating John Cena this past summer, 2021, summer of Cena. Everyone booed John Cena his entire WWE run, and then when he was gone, we all missed him. So hopefully we can look at ourselves a little bit and realize that we got to stop hating these GOATs. We got to give these people their flowers when they're at their peak, not just when they're alive, but when they're at their peak here. And you got to give credit where credit is due. With John Cena and Tom Brady, hated during their peak, but will probably be looked at in history fondly as some of the greatest that ever did it. Maybe the generation coming up will give Tom Brady the credit and the admiration that he kind of deserves, much like with John Cena here. Really wish we saw John Cena in the Royal Rumble, but that's neither here nor there. Someone we didn't see in the Royal Rumble was Jeff Hardy. Apparently, WWE wanted him in the Royal Rumble. They wanted him back. They were going to also include him in the Hall of Fame. Jeff Hardy said, fuck your Hall of Fame, WWE. And then Matt Hardy has confirmed that Jeff Hardy did pass his drug test that WWE gave him before they fired him, which means, Jeff Hardy, you have some fucking explaining to do. Why were you acting as if you were on drugs during that WWE house show if you weren't on drugs? This story has only gotten better and better here. I want to see Jeff Hardy in AEW. I want to just hear him cut a promo and explain what the fuck he was doing at that house show in Texas if he wasn't on drugs. But, Jeff Hardy, you gotta love him. I do want to see him in AEW just so him and Matt can team up one last time. We want to see him versus the Bucks, versus the Lucha Bros, versus FTR, versus Jurassic Express, versus Sting and Darby. There's tons of feuds and matches that I want to see from the Hardy Boys in AEW. I also want to see another match, Jake Paul versus Dana White. Jake Paul just dropped a diss track, hilarious music video included. I don't think that Dana White ever thought he would be caught up in a rap beef or a music beef, but he is, and it's fucking hilarious. This is the only beef involving a UFC personality that we will be talking about on the show, by the way. But Jake Paul, yeah, music video came out. The hilarious line, it was so funny and so good that they put it at the beginning of the music video just so you know, hey guys, if you watch this music video, we're going to say this line again. He goes, all gas like propane, talking about, his stamina in the ring, Jake Paul's stamina in the ring. Dana, won't you lay off the cocaine? I love that shit because it's like he's, kind of feels bad for Dana White, kind of saying, "Come on, Dana, you're my buddy. Just stop doing cocaine." Which, of course, Dana White has denied that he does cocaine, accusing Jake Paul of doing steroids. Jake Paul has denied that he does steroids, which is what led to this music video. Also, Jake Paul kind of alludes to the fact that Dana White doesn't pay his fighters enough. Usman kind of said the same thing, and tons of fighters have said the same thing over the years. But the music video included a fake Dana White getting beaten up by Jake Paul and some former UFC fighters. Very kind of Eminem, Beastie Boys style music video where it's like, it's meant to be silly, it's meant to be funny. They even stick a plunger on the bald fake head of Dana White, which is hilarious. Where will this be going? I don't know, but I'm going to be covering this story with all the news coming out of it. One, because I enjoy it, and two, because I think this celebrity boxing stuff is the new age of sports entertainment. The way we look at wrestling, the way wrestling fans look at wrestling, I think is how the rest of the world kind of sees these Jake Paul fights, and I find them really interesting, and I think that they're striking a nerve in society that I feel like wrestling at its core and at its best tries to strike with society as well. Lots of good parallels. And Logan Paul, WrestleMania legend, so it's kind of tied into wrestling here. We're going to keep covering it. We're also going to keep covering AEW. I'm a little late to it. I'm recording this Monday night. Please forgive me, guys, but I'm going to be giving you my thoughts on the week that was on AEW television. Team Taz on the beach, a very cold beach. They said it was -9 in this beach in Cleveland. The segment was taken over by Powerhouse Hobbs Drip. Overalls with a fur coat. I mean, those are two articles of clothing that always make someone stand out, but I've never seen the combination until Powerhouse Hobbs was rocking it on a snowy beach in Cleveland, Ohio last Dynamite. I would say the biggest takeaway from this string of shows from AEW is CM Punk versus MJF. It was announced for this coming Dynamite. I can't see this match being bigger than Omega versus Bryan. I can't see it being better than Hangman versus Bryan. But this could be the biggest and best match on AEW Dynamite that is not involving Bryan Danielson. And that's saying a lot here. Good build. The good build continued with the Pinnacle jumping CM Punk. Wardlow reluctantly participating in the ass beating. I think Wardlow is going to help Punk win. And then the pay-per-view match is going to be Wardlow versus MJF with maybe CM Punk in Wardlow's corner and maybe Spears and FTR in MJF's corner. I'm not really sure, but I think that that's where they're leading to, because I can't really see them doing a match in Chicago. Maybe MJF wins it in Chicago, getting nuclear heat, and then that builds to another match, but that match is going to be far down the line. AEW Revolution, I think, is until March or April. It's definitely not in February, so I don't know what they're going to do with the rest of the Dynamites and Rampages and Darks leading up to this. They kind of need to deliver something here, and I think what they're going to deliver is Wardlow helping CM Punk beat MJF, and then the match is Wardlow versus MJF. That's what I think here. That's my prediction. But, take it with a grain of salt. Guevara and Cody definitely had the best match of the week, but then they had Guevara come out with the cue card things later on in the show. That's nitpicky, but I didn't really like that. Britt Baker shitting on Cleveland was awesome. She was so good here. The crowd wanted to cheer for her, but then she just turned on them by shitting on the Browns. I guess the people of Cleveland don't know that the rest of America just shits on the Browns too, but she did it right in front of their face. And there was Browns chants, just all types of shit. Of course, Britt Baker is a known Steelers fan, and the Browns are in the Steelers division. So it was good. Great promo of the week, I would say, on AEW. Going to Rampage, not a lot of backstage stuff in Rampage, which is how I like. Of course, the split screen with Mark Henry is always good, but I like a lot of the in-ring action on Rampage. Andrade was looking for Sting, finds Darby. This is going to be interesting. I do think that the Andrade Hardy family office is a little bit of a convoluted faction, to say the least, but there's some pretty good tag teams in there. Private Party, the Butcher and the Blade. I mean, you can even do Hardy and Andrade, and this could all lead to great matches with Sting and Darby. So I'm excited about that. I'm going to, looking forward to seeing where this goes. But we're going to be breaking down every single match on AEW television, Rampage and Dynamite this last week from worst to first. Number 9, Wardlow versus Elijah Dean and James Alexander. Wardlow beating up two men. What's not to like? It wasn't that good of a match, though, because it was so one-sided. So that's why it's the worst match. Number 8, Jade versus Julia Hart. This was kind of like the Anna Jay match against Jade last show that we talked about. Two green ladies going at it, but this wasn't as good as the Anna Jay match. That's why it sits at number 8. Number 7, Inner Circle versus 2.0 and Garcia. A lot of tension here between the Inner Circle, Chris Jericho, Santana, and Ortiz. I like it. I'm kind of interested in it. This feud kind of dragged on a little bit with Eddie Kingston and everything for a while. I was kind of ready to give up on it, but this kind of just, like a match to gasoline here. There's not much you can do with the Inner Circle anymore. You did the heel run. You did the face run. Now we're year 3 of AEW. Break them up. Let Pride and Powerful, Santana and Ortiz go on their own. And then you still have Guevara, Chris Jericho, and Hager as the Inner Circle. But it kind of looks like Guevara is kind of on his own as well. He hasn't really been linked to the Inner Circle for several weeks now. Only when Garcia and him were wrestling each other, but that really still was kind of Inner Circle adjacent. I don't know, but Inner Circle versus 2.0 and Garcia sits at number 7. Number 6, Layla Hirsch versus Velvet. Hirsch, underrated. She carried this match. Crowd was quiet as hell, though. Statlander comes out at the end. It sits at 6. Number 5, Cassidy versus Cole. I didn't like this match as much as I saw others like this match. I feel like, much like the Cardona versus Janela match from GCW The World On, it was kind of like mockingly overbooked, very convoluted, like 8 run-ins. They fight in the back. They go through the table in the back. They fight on top of the ramp. Cassidy does get a big win, but I feel like all of this was overshadowed by the hype on the internet for Danhausen making his AEW debut, appearing from under the ring. I don't know where this is going to go. He didn't really stay in the match too long. Definitely the flavor of the week in AEW. I hope he doesn't join the Dark Order, but I hope he kind of maybe feuds with the Dark Order. I feel like their comedy and his comedy could do well together. The Dark Order really did, do very well on being the elite. And Danhausen does well on the internet as well. So I think maybe that's his wheelhouse here, but we'll have to see where this goes. Jurassic Express versus Private Party sit at number 4. The Gin and Juice is still one of the coolest tag team maneuvers in all of pro wrestling. Cool spots, shooting star press, breaking up the snare trap at one point, but the champs do retain. It was a good match, but it was overshadowed by the best tag team match of the week, FTR versus Brock Anderson and Big Shotty Lee Johnson. Brock and Dash Harwood going at it. They had some really good spots here. Of course, Dash kind of shitting on Brock, saying that his dad wishes that he was his son, or some Arn beef here. Big Shotty jumping on Dash on one side of the ring, jumping in the ring, and jumping on Dawson on the other side of the ring, or whatever they're called now. That was good shit. Arn and Tully go at it. Double pile driver, 1, 2, 3. FTR get the victory. Number 2, Mox versus Bowens. Bowens extremely underrated. Mox extremely over. They brawl in the crowd. They try to get a boombox involved. Mox looks lean after kicking the bottle, or getting rid, not drinking anymore. Every week, the first match on Rampage sits at the number 1 or number 2 spot. So I would feel like that's just the match of the week generally. But it got outshadowed by a match that I think we're going to remember for years to come. Cody has done so much in the last 6 months, lighting himself on fire, semi-retiring, leaving his boots, brawling in the crowd with Malachi Black, and then this Sammy Guevara feud. I feel like everything Cody does is great, but the crowd just boos him. I don't know why. I guess it's that reality show. The reality show was a bad move. I think him on the Go Big show as a judge or a host is fine, but I think that reality show really left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. I didn't watch the damn thing, so I don't know, but I think that that's the catalyst to all this Cody Rhodes hate. But this match was amazing. Cody hits a superplex off the ladder onto Sammy, but this was really Sammy Guevara's match. Sammy Guevara and Cody was the first match ever on Dynamite, and here they are in this crazy ladder match, kicking off Dynamite this week. They hit a cutter from one ladder to another ladder to the down on the ring. He also hits a Jeff Hardy-esque senton off a ladder onto Cody, who was on a ladder that was set up like a table between the ring and the guardrail. Amazing match. Really showed GCW how to do a fucking ladder match. I'll just say it like that, because that clusterfuck at the beginning of the World On was exactly that, a big fucking clusterfuck, where this was well-paced, well-timed. There was 2 referees. They were both holding ladders, so it kind of took away from the suspense a little bit. You saw like the ladder was sturdy, but I mean, come on, these guys are still out there risking their lives. You need someone holding the damn ladder. This was a great match. Sammy Guevara gets the victory, and he gets the top spot of the week in the best match from AEW. But we got to talk about it, guys. The elephant in the room, the really shitty spectacle that was the Royal Rumble. The Royal Rumble, one of my favorite pay-per-views of the year, every single year. And I have to say, this was one of the worst Royal Rumbles of all time that I've ever seen, and I think I've seen them all. I've watched them all. And I want to say this was in the bottom 3 Rumbles of all time. I have every single match from worst to first ranked. There was no pre-show match. They kicked off the show with Roman versus Seth, and we're going to discuss that a little later, because we're going to be talking about the worst match on the Royal Rumble, which was the men's Royal Rumble match. This is usually my favorite event of the year, just like I said, because I love the Royal Rumble match itself. But this was bland. It was boring. It literally was like 15 or 16, and then you realize, oh, the WWE roster is super thin. There's no one that I actually think is going to win this fucking thing. And, the writing was on the wall from there. It was just, yeah, it was the worst one I can remember. I say bottom 3 just because, I don't know, I want to give it a little leeway, but it might be the worst of all time. They didn't set up shit but the Roman and Brock match. But here's the thing. They already set that match up earlier in the evening. Roman coming in and costing Brock the title is enough of a spark to ignite that feud again. You don't have to have Brock come out and win the Rumble. You could just have Brock won his revenge, and then Adam Pearce or something book the match for WrestleMania, and then whoever wins the Rumble be the Raw main event with Bobby Lashley as the champion versus whoever would win that. I mean, there's rumors that it was supposed to be Riddle. It could have been Big E. I think Riddle with his MMA background, and then Big E, having already beaten Bobby Lashley for the title, and then you could have done the first WrestleMania main event featuring two black male wrestlers, which would have been big, just like last year you did Sasha Banks versus Bianca Belair, two female black wrestlers. This could have been playing into that dynamic even more so, especially with MVP and everything. So you had two big marquee matches you could have done that you could have set up for Raw. So you would have had your SmackDown main event and your Raw main event set up in this show, where this show was just all Roman Brock. Don't get me wrong, that was the best part of the show. That was the only thing really a part of the show. But I really think they dropped the ball with this Rumble. I mean, even the mid-card. I mean, there was no Braun Breaker. I mean, I know he's in NXT, but NXT is a show that's on the USA Network on Tuesday nights. Don't you want to put that over slightly? I mean, they didn't even have Veer. They've been showing vignettes for Veer for months now. I mean, they didn't even try. The pluses, I mean, seeing Johnny Knoxville out there was cool. I've been a fan of him since I was a kid. Bad Bunny coming out was cool, because he did so well at WrestleMania last year. But the WWE leaked that he was there talking to Undertaker earlier that day. So it was kind of a foregone conclusion that he was going to come out for the Rumble. The Rumble match was almost as disappointing as Kofi's feet hitting the ground. I mean, that was just the icing on the cake. I can't believe that shit. I did like Nakamura and AJ Styles starting it off. I was shocked to see Ricochet out there. I just thought it was super bad, and it was the worst match on the show. The Royal Rumble match itself was the worst match at the Royal Rumble event. Number 5 out of 6 was Becky versus Doudrop. Solid match, solid work from both ladies, but no one watching thought Doudrop had a snowball's chance in hell of beating Becky Lynch. Number 4 out of 6, the It Couple versus the Grit Couple. Just like Becky versus Doudrop, it was a solid match. Went on a little too long. It was put between Brock and Bobby and the Men's Rumble. So right then and there, I was thinking, I want to see the Royal Rumble. At this point, I was anticipating the Men's Royal Rumble. I didn't know how bad it was going to be, and I just wanted to get to that. Beth Phoenix doing her Bull Nakano look-alike was pretty cool. But I think this match would have been better at WrestleMania. I've heard a bunch of podcasts say that. I think Sunday Night's Main Event said it. But it makes sense. They always do a good mixed tag match at WrestleMania. This would have been that big marquee mixed tag match at WrestleMania. And you could have used Beth and Maurice in the Women's Rumble, and you could have had one of them throw each other out to set this match up for Mania. And you could have had Miz and Edge in the Men's Rumble to set this match up for later as well, and that would have helped both matches out and would have helped this match out if they put it at WrestleMania. There's 2 nights of WrestleMania, so you could have done a mixed tag match and then got Edge in another match for the second night or the first night or however you wanted to do it. So I just think it was a solid match if you were going to do this match, but I think they just should not have done this match. Number 3 out of 6 is the Women's Rumble. Melina coming out was great, almost crying. What a moment. Ivory and Molly was cool. I liked how they, did their old gimmicks, right to censor Mighty Molly getting jumped by Nikki Ash. That was all good. But the other legends, I mean, come on. Cameron, I mean, wasn't she fired for sucking and then brought back to NXT with Eva Marie, and then both got fired for sucking or something like that happened? She's got fired multiple times for not being good, and then they threw her out right away. Mickie James was cool, but they already announced that. If they didn't announce that, that would have been a huge surprise. Charlotte throwing out Lita was cool, but we know that that's not going anywhere because the direction after this looked like they were doing Ronda versus Charlotte. I can't stand Ronda Rousey after she pretty much went on this internet rant about wrestling fans and all that shit. I mean, she wasn't even that good of a wrestler. That's why she got booed. It was nothing about wrestling fans being shitty. It's like, look at how we treat Britt Baker. Look how we treat Sasha Banks, Kenny Omega, Bryan Danielson. Like, if you're good, we'll tell you, and if you're bad, we'll also tell you. So Ronda, maybe pick up on that a little bit. I'm not excited about seeing her again. She didn't impress me the first time, and then she left that bad taste in my mouth after cutting that, I guess, shoot promo while she's getting her hair done. I mean, just ridiculous. Number 2 out of 6, Brock versus Bobby. Big fight, feel as fuck. Really cool video package, setting the stage, collar and elbow tie up. Just simple match. Really good stuff here. Both men hitting suplexes. Bobby slips out of the F5, applies the Hurt Lock, ref bump, and then that's when Roman Reigns interferes. Paul Heyman betrays Brock Lesnar. That was the angle of the night. I feel like that was the focal point of the night, and everything involving that storyline was great. Was the best shit on the show. The only shit on the show worth watching, really. It should have been like a 1-hour show. But that was number 2. Number 1, Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins. Seth freaking Rollins coming out dressed as the Shield. I popped. He was popping himself. He was cackling at himself, as he always does. And then he puts Roman through a table at the beginning of the match. Hits a frog splash. 1, 2. Roman kicks out. Curb stomp. Roman kicks out again. Superman punch. 1, 2. Seth kicks out. Roman... his eye is all fucked up at some point. Something happened. Spear. Rollins is just laughing at him. This is when Roman loses his cool. Guillotine. There's a struggle. Ref calls it DQ. So Seth technically wins the match, but Roman keeps the title. Charles Robinson, Little Nate says, let it go, Roman, trying to get him to release the hold. And Roman says, he won't let me let it go. That line got me, of course, alluding to all the Shield stuff, dressing up as a member of the Shield, playing the mind games. He won't let me let it go. I feel you there, Roman. We've all been there. We've all struggled with something in the past, and even though Roman lost, he whooped Seth's ass with the steel chair. The crowd chanting "Roman sucks." Apparently, this was supposed to make Seth babyface, but in my opinion, it made I don't know. I was more of a Roman fan after this than I previously was. I don't know where they're going with this. Yeah, I guess face Brock versus heel Roman. But I mean, you could. It's interchangeable. It's just two over motherfuckers. Brock is a badass. Roman's a badass. Brock is pissed because Heyman betrayed him. It is a perfect storyline. So, and that was the focal point. They wanted to get this match over, and they did. Everything else, including the namesake of the damn show, the Royal Rumble, fell to the wayside and thus was boring because of it. And that's okay. That's what they want to do. It's their show. They can do whatever they want. But that was Saturday. We're jumping over to Monday. Monday Night Raw. It felt like Royal Rumble was an afterthought. Austin Theory continues to have a really good 2022 going up against Kevin Owens. Gable and Riddle did this scooter race, very silly, very funny. They're racing around the arena, and then they come down the ramp. Gable eats shit, everyone laughs, and then Riddle turns the corner. Otis takes him out, and then Gable wins the scooter thing, and that leads to a match with Otis and Riddle. Winner goes on to the Elimination Chamber. Riddle wins. Austin Theory beat Kevin Owens, so Austin Theory and Matt Riddle are in the Elimination Chamber in Saudi Arabia, along with Brock Lesnar, which makes no sense. He's already got his shot. He's already, doing something at WrestleMania. Bobby Lashley, the champion, and Seth Rollins, and then Rey Mysterio and AJ Styles had a match to see who was going in there. I don't know how some got in and then some, had to earn their spot in, but that's neither here nor there. AJ Styles is the sixth man in the Elimination Chamber match. I don't know. It seemed like Royal Rumble seemed like an afterthought on the Raw right after the Royal Rumble. It was just a bummer to see, guys. I'll be talking more about NWA USA next week. I didn't watch it this week, but I'm going to be catching up. It's just 30 minutes. I also like Lions Roar on New Japan World. It was a little docu-series about the New Zealand dojo they have out there, so that's pretty fucking cool. Fly high. I'm out.